Hey, I'm Jason Wood, the VA Loan Guy and host of the Armed and Ready podcast. Please come and check out this exciting episode we have for you. We have a return guest on the show. I'm super excited to have Doug Leto on the show with us. Doug is one of my favorites. He is a military aviator. He's into acting. He's into all sorts of investing and cool stuff. So we have a lot of neat things to talk about with you today. So Doug, thank you so much for spending some time with us again.
Yes, Jason, it's great to be back. And I can't believe the last time we did this was 10 months ago already. So that's amazing. Time flies even during COVID. Amazing stuff.
I know it does. And it's just crazy. I mean, even though it's been such a unique year for all of us, I feel like the time has gone faster. And I don't know why. Maybe being cooped up makes you feel like the time goes faster. I'm not sure, but
I feel the exact opposite with you, but whatever. Interesting point of view.
Yeah, well, everyone's own perspective, but I'm really excited to have you on the show again. You know, last time we were talking, of course, we didn't really recognize what the outcome of COVID was going to be and stuff. And it's definitely changed kind of the movie world a little bit, or pump the brakes on the movie world a little bit, I guess is a good way to say it. But you got to act in a movie that I'm super duper excited about because as a kid, I love the first one, but that's Top Gun Maverick, which is supposed to now come out around the July 4th weekend, 2021, right?
Oh, yes. July 2nd. Last time we spoke, it was 2 months into COVID social distancing, and we were planning it coming out in December. They pushed it back to July 2nd. And hopefully the way things are tracking with COVID, I think, the vaccines are going to work. Everybody's going to be out and about. It'll be summertime. Theaters will be open. The premiere is going to be in San Diego. It's going to be seriously the roaring 20s all over again. This is going to be a great year.
Oh, I'm super excited for it. And I think you're right. I think COVID's going to lighten up to the point where, we can go see a movie and it's just going to be awesome timing, around Independence Day. And it's such, kind of an hoorah kind of movie, just all about the U.S. and fighter planes and the Navy. And it's so cool. And I just remember as a kid, and even still, when the first Top Gun even comes on, like I can't change past that channel. If Top Gun's playing on like some TV channel, I always got to pop by and watch it for a little bit because it's so awesome. At least if you love aviation and the military, you like that movie.
Oh man, for sure. The first Top Gun movie was a game changer. As we talked about in our last thing, it changed my life. It was like, I want to be like those guys. And I'll tell you, I was so lucky when I got my Navy ROTC scholarship and we got to do our summer cruises. And so for all 3 summers, I would go down to San Diego for my 1-month cruise. And for 2 of the 3 summers in college, it was post Top Gun, but pre-tailhook scandal. And it was like that window in time, amazing window in time when naval aviators were absolute rock stars. And on a Thursday night at Miramar, which used to be a Navy base, of course, that's the base they used for the original Top Gun.
Right.
There was the Officers Club. And Thursday night at the Officers Club was Ladies' Night. And oh my God, the stories I could tell about the whole club. It was incredible. The first time I went there as a midshipman, I was definitely under 21, and all these cool pilots were there in their flight suits, and this place was packed. The music was playing, the tiki torches were on, people are dancing by the swimming pool, and I was just in awe of what I was seeing. It was 4 women for every pilot, and of course, San Diego, the women in San Diego are beautiful, and it was just absolutely crazy. I was so fortunate to get to see that with my own eyes as a young college age guy. And of course, I don't know if you're up to speed on the tailhook scandal, but this was that same period of time when pilots were living like rock stars. And the annual convention used to be in Las Vegas, and they were partying way too hard, having way too much fun. Same type of mentality as what I got to see at the O Club. But what happened was a new female aviator. They had just started letting in female naval aviators, and she was there, and she didn't like what she was seeing. And man, there were Senate inquiries, and so many big, admirals, lost their jobs. It was a horrible time. Officer clubs were shut down across the world. There's a whole change of the culture. And the interesting thing is I, have been a naval aviator this whole time. And I go to the tailhook conventions, which got very, very tame. But now when I go back to the tailhook conventions, no one even remembers the tailhook scandal. Nobody, very few people even remember post tailhook. So now you go to the tailhook conventions and you're like, man, these young pilots, they need to take it easy. They're going to get us in trouble again. The fun is back, I'll tell you. And then I can just forecast when Top Gun Maverick comes out, it's going to be back. It's going to be like naval aviation is going to be back to the forefront. Everybody's going to want to join the Navy, be a pilot. It's going to be a lot of fun. So it's super fun as an actor, after my Navy career, being an actor, to, be on set, to be part of Top Gun, making it. I'm telling you, it's going to change. This movie will affect so many things. It's even going to affect cars. The coolest cars you've ever seen were parked at the bar that we filmed at. Every pilot has cool cars. It's just a fact. We call them ensign mobiles. We get our first paycheck and bonus. We run in, we get an American muscle car, bright colors, drive around with our hair on fire. That's just the way we live. And so the motorcycles, the cars, they're even gonna have Mattel sets, Top Gun Maverick sets the kids can buy, bright color, Dodge, and I don't know all the brands, but it's just gonna be incredible. And I'm telling you, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
That's so cool. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I mean, it's just fun to think back during that original time that you're explaining. And I've talked to some clients that flew the F-14 in the Navy during those times, and they're like, I can't even tell you all the stories because they're not PG. But yeah, I mean, you nailed it right on the head. I mean, they were absolute rock stars. I mean, if you were a naval aviator, it didn't even matter what you flew. It didn't have to be the F-14. I mean, if you flew in the Navy, you were a rock star, period. And yeah, I think it's going to be much the same. So speaking of, flying, a naval jet, tell us a little bit about that. What is it like? I mean, obviously you weren't a pilot like right after the first Top Gun, and experiencing that exact same thing. But, what is it like being a pilot? Like, flying cross country and doing formation flying and learning how to land on an aircraft. I'd imagine your first couple of times it's probably scary as hell. But like, what is all that like?
First of all, the training is super, super intense and very challenging. And, I was always a straight A student. I got accepted to Duke University. I was a varsity athlete, good at video games, hand-eye, very confident person. I got to primary flight training, and man, I sucked. It really didn't click for me. And I even called my dad and I said, hey, I don't think I'm, cut out for this. And he gave me a pep talk, just the right amount of, motivation and a little threatening, like, do you need me to come out there? Like, no, Dad, I don't need that. But anyway, the training that they put into all of us, 2 to 3 years from the start to getting your wings. And it's, I did 6 years as a flight instructor, and I can tell you there's no better training that someone can go through. It's so well thought out, so well organized. It's really a well-oiled machine in the training command. And yes, just, working hard, that work hard, play hard mentality, you know, and the great instruction that you get, and they do give you the flight hours that you need, the simulator time, the training, the patience, and then we all get to that level. When I say we all, some people do fail out, but in general, the program works. And the big thing is just learning the little tricks. Like, for example, you have to fly, when you're flying formation, you have to fly so smooth. I'm talking minute corrections. And one of the best tricks, one of my primary instructors told me, we have a knee board pad on our thigh. And
Right.
he said, my trick is you lean your forearm on your knee board pad and you just fly with your wrist. And if you can imagine, I was flying, with my arm in the air. And so my arm was just subtly moving all the time. And then my formation flying was so rough. But when I anchored it on my knee pad, and I even would cock up my knee, for 20 years of flying, I had to cock up my knee to have that perfect hand position so that I could just do super tiny, infinitesimal corrections. And another thing a flight instructor taught me is the 3-part corrections. If you're drifting back in formation, you need to add power. Then you need, so to get you drifting where you need to go back forward to be in the perfect spot, then you pull the power off and then you reset. So add the power to move up, pull the power off to stop that moving forward, and then reset what you hope is the perfect position. And then you hope you stay perfect. But then these 3-part corrections never end. You're always fine-tuning it, always fine-tuning it. So just like, everything the Blue Angels do at the air shows, we teach our students in the training command to do. We fly 4-plane division flights, and we all, can do aerobatics together. And people always ask me, so how does it work? And what do you have to do? And with training, you just get so used to it. When you're on the outside of a turn, this hand is my lead and I'm the wingman. I know on the outside I have to add power because you're like on the tail of a whip. Add power, come around the top, and then pull power when you're inside of the turn. And you just, with doing it over and over and over again, you just get the feel of it, the anticipation, until we become so proficient that we are, imperceptibly locked in to that perfect position. And, the reason we do that is not to look cool at air shows and to impress people. It's because we need to be able to fly through the clouds. So we can get so close that we're punching through clouds in 4-plane divisions, and the lead is using his instruments to fly because we can't see the ground. If the lead screws up, we all screw up. There's been, no kidding, craters in the ground of 4 aircraft perfectly in formation that followed their lead into the dirt. So the lead we're trusting him to navigate, and all we're doing is getting our 3 checkpoints off of him to stay in that perfect position. And we just trust him and follow him through the formation. Also in a 4-plane, the 4th plane, sometimes he's outside one of the second wings. So it's a row of 3. So you really want 2 to be really great. If he's super solid, your job is easy. If 2 sucks and he's always moving up and moving back, and then you're like, geez, this guy is hard to fly form off of. So of course, he'll get better and all that, but you see that a lot in the training command with the students, how it's a domino effect. And then also the 4th one can then move up into a diamond formation. But once again, he's looking off of either -2 or 3. The fourth plane isn't looking off of -1. So I hope that makes sense to you.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then are you guys talking to each other the whole time during this? Well, as you're flying together?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in we can do it two ways. We can definitely talk to each other. So for example, you say speed brakes now, and you hit your speed brakes, and the guys, when they hear now, they hit their speed brakes, and we all do it together. If we all need to slow down, and then, you know, gear and flaps now, throw down the gear, drop the flaps to half, that type of thing. Full flaps now. But sometimes in you know, we have to be radio silence in combat. We don't want to transmit where we are, so we also train to do it without comms, and we use hand signals. So like there's a guy flying off my left wing, and I'll go speed brakes, head forward, head back, boom, hit the speed brakes. And gear and flaps, you know, is a signal like this. And then head forward, head back, gear, flaps to half. So everything is practiced, everything's coordinated. And then as a flight instructor, we're grading our students on those transitions, how locked in they can be when they're putting out their speed brakes. In the beginning of their training, man, it's a circus watching these students coordinate to put their speed brakes out. You know, they'll be like, speed brakes now, head forward, head back. Whoa! You know, it's like, you know, but they become, I'm telling you, 90% of them become as good as the Blue Angels. I will swear by that. The Blue Angels are picked more by their personality and their reputation than they are for their airmanship, because all of us can fly great. We all can land on the carrier with precision. We all can fly formation and aerobatics with precision. What it really is like rushing a super elite fraternity and, you know, and getting in, you know, and it seems like, you know, with everything else, you know, probably back in the day, you know, back, you know, in the 90s, you know, post Top Gun, it was, you know, just like everything else. I'm sure the Blue Angels have major stories to tell back then when you talk about rock stars. But I did, I think that, you know, through the ages, as the military has cleaned up its act and act more, you know, better officers, better role models, they do look at that when they're recruiting. You know, they want to make sure they're picking guys that aren't going to get in the news. You know, you got to represent the Navy well. And so a lot of my friends have, you know, rushed the Blue Angels. They, classmates of mine have made the Blue Angels. Students of mine have made the Blue Angels. They're all top shelf, just rock star, all-American, great, solid guys. And when, you know, when they make the Blue Angels, you're like, I get it. Those guys are, that's what the kind of guys we want to put up front to represent all of us in the Navy, in naval aviation, and for America, you know. So it's great to see.
So what's the story with the Top Gun school that we heard about? And obviously the movie is predicated on getting into that school and so forth. And I know when the original movie was, Miramar was the Top Gun school, and I think now it's Fallon Naval Air Station, right? But what's that all about? What is the Top Gun school all about?
In the movies, we always have to dramatize things more. You know, every movie's the same. You know, the guy has problems with his dad. The guy is a maverick. He has to overcome something. There's got to be a big, you know, climactic finale. You know, guy meets girl, guy falls in love, guy loses girl, guy gets girl in the back. Every movie's the same. But the reason I say that is because they really wanted to dramatize Top Gun. So Top Gun is for sure the best of the best, but it's not as elite and reserved as they make it look in the movie. And it's not as it's not like a tournament, like, you know, you're the winner and all that kind of stuff, you know, but they really built that up just to, you know, have that drama, and to make it more exciting. But, you know, the main thing is the top, or I should say the more senior, uh, junior officers in the squadrons go there, learn the advanced tactics, the best tactics, because they're going to go back to the fleet and teach the younger guys. And so that's really what it comes down to. But all the training in the military is top shelf, and it's all about getting the entire fleet ready, through the training, through the workups before deployment, to go out on cruise and be able to do the job. So as you know, now it's in Fallon, Nevada, instead of at Miramar. And Fallon is an incredible place to fly. You know, we did our workups there before going out on our 6-month deployment. And we, as a carrier air wing, we would go against their instructor pilots in our training. And we also would fly with them. So in the movie Top Gun, they use F-5 Tigers painted, you know, to look like the MiGs with the star and everything. And so our air wing would go against those pilots. And also, if we weren't flying, you know, I could hop in the back seat of the F-5 Tiger and, you know, be a part of it going against the air wing, and, you know, also learn the tricks from those guys. And I'll tell you, those flying lawn darts are out of control. You know, like they go through supersonic with just like an imperceptible thing. Like one time I was looking down at the gauge, you know, to see that we were supersonic, and we were down very low, below, you know, flying under the radar. The pilot turned hard and pulled a serious hard turn, and I had my head down just like this much with the helmet on. And when he did that and pulled, the G's were, you know, probably 4 G's. So my helmet, you know, went from 15 pounds or whatever to 80. And I actually heard the muscles in the back of my neck. I heard them go. Like it was like holy shit. Like, you know, I didn't want to tell him, hey, how about a little warning? Because I didn't want him to think I was a puss. But anyway, I had a sore neck, you know. But no, it's an incredible place to fly, and it's also good to be out there in Fallon because you don't have too many distractions, because there's really not much else to do out there in Fallon. You know, the best thing to do is you got to drive over an hour to Reno, or you know, hour and a half, 2 hours to Tahoe.
Yeah.
So when you're there, you're just, you know, head down, working hard, training hard, studying hard, getting qualled up, getting ready to go out and deploy.
That's really cool. Yeah, I always wondered if they actually flew F-5s as kind of the aggressor in your guys' training, or if that was just a movie thing. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Did you get to fly one of those? Have you flown one?
Yes, I that story I told about the strained neck was in an F-5 Tiger.
Obviously, you know, as a pilot, you got to fly all over the place. But what is it like doing cross countries? Have you been to any cool spots where you have, you know, some interesting experience?
Yes, really one of the best perks of being a naval aviator is the cross countries. When my civilian friends hear about this, they are just like, man, you guys are so lucky. So the way it works is, as long as you're getting real training done, you can put in a cross-country request and, you know, leave on a Friday and come back on a Sunday night. And the world, I shouldn't say the world is your oyster, but the continental United States is definitely your oyster. And when I was married, I had you know, my wife said 1 weekend a month you can go on a cross country with your friends. And so I put in my request, and, you know, we'd always go to fun places, lots of times to Miami, you know, Las Vegas, ski trips. It's such an amazing perk. And then a lot of guys, I was telling you about rushing the Blue Angels. The air show circuit is a great cross country opportunity. The air shows are so fun to go to. They really take care of the pilots. So, and we have the calendar. We know what's going on, and so, you know, we get our approvals. We fly into the air show park for the static display, meet and greets with the people at the air show. There's a pilot-only hospitality tent where they really take good care of us. You know, lots of times I'm personal friends with the Blue Angels, so you know, they do their show, then we go out afterwards. That's always a real interesting experience, getting to fly their wing on the ground, seeing the fun that happens on that side of things. So it's definitely cross countries are definitely one of the best perks, and so far that amazing good deal hasn't gone away. So cross your fingers for those guys that they get to continue to do that.
So I grew up in Reno, and as a kid, always went to the Fallon Naval Air Show. I mean, and the Reno Air Races. I don't know that I missed hardly any my whole childhood, and it is cool. I mean, those air shows are really awesome, and yeah, and I remember seeing those tents, the hospitality tents and things like that, and yeah, you guys are set up pretty well.
I'll tell you a funny story, a cross country story and an air show story. I did a cross country to Minnesota from San Diego to go to my cousin's wedding. And on the way back, there was a really bad storm, and the air traffic control turned us 90 degrees from the storm to avoid it. And we were definitely in the goo. You know, I couldn't see it. I'm flying through clouds. And the next thing I know is my canopy goes and turns solid brown. And I know it sounds stupid, but my first thing that came through my mind was, this is definitely going to sound stupid. The first thing that came through my mind is that I flew through cow shit. And I'm at, 37,000 feet, but that's what it looked like. It looked like my canopy was covered with brown cow shit. I couldn't see. And it turns out what happened is it was hail. And when it hit the canopy and cracked it into these little cracks, it turned brown. And it was solid brown. I can't see out of it. So the emergency procedure is to declare an emergency, dump cabin pressure, descend to a lower altitude, make sure your visor's on, your ejection seat is as low as it can go in case the canopy actually cracks more and comes into you. So then you'll be down low and protected as best you can. You don't want to take the canopy shards. You got to protect yourself.
Right.
So what happened is my right seater navigator, he with his oxygen mask, the speaker wouldn't work in it, and so he couldn't speak, but he could still turn the radios and tune the navigation stuff. But I had him get the right frequency. We declared our emergency. I had him look up where we wanted to go, because my plan was I didn't want to eject. If you eject, of course, these planes are like $28 million. I'm going to get in huge trouble. Plus, personally, if you eject, the ejection seat will seriously jack up your spine. It's just like, that's not the plan. So my plan is I want to do a instrument precision approach and land on a runway. And it's funny because we told them where we wanted to go, and it was Offutt Air Force Base in Oklahoma or Nebraska. I can't remember which state. They had a precision approach, and they were pretty close. So we tuned them up. We headed there. We told them what we were doing, and then they said, we couldn't go there because there's an air show there.
Oh, no.
And I said, negative. This is an emergency. Tell them to clear the runway. We're coming in. And they said, stand by. And then, after a couple minutes, they got back to us. You're approved to land. Please be advised that there's a grandstand with 30,000 people to your right. So if you make a mistake, make it to your left. So,
Oh, no pressure. No pressure.
yeah, I flew a perfect precision approach. My needles were always locked in. I just flew it right down. It was perfectly centered. The good news is and also the needles even stay centered. This is this sideways one. It'll even stay centered on the runway. So, but the good news is the canopy to my left was not cracked. So I had my needles, and then I could look out the side. So I landed, and I kept my needle straight, and I looked outside, needle straight, kept outside, smooth, straight application of my brakes. I don't want to weave, I just got to take it easy. I got a ton of runway ahead of me because it's Air Force Base. They have super long runways, no stress. And I slowed down, and then we stopped. And then Peep Show gets his mask off, and he goes, there's a fire truck coming. There's a fire truck coming. And so I get on the radio and I tell them, there's no fire. Make sure the fire guys don't squirt us, because those firemen are real eager beavers to come out with their foam and spray stuff that doesn't need spray, and they'll ruin our jet. So then we shut everything down. The plan is we're going to shut everything down, get out, and then they're going to tow our jet off the runway. So we climb out of our jets, no kidding, and there's a grandstand filled with 30,000 people, and they're cheering like it's a sporting event, and we're like waving at them like conquering heroes. We pull into a golf cart. They drive us to the pilot hospitality tent. Everything's good. There's a keg there. There's big Subway sandwiches. We're eating, we're drinking, we're talking to other pilots. We're just so happy to be alive. And then I told Peep Show, I said, hey, you're the senior man. You better call back to base and tell the skipper what happened. And he's like, oh no. So he calls the skipper, and they're like, hey, we're just happy that you guys are okay. Good job getting safe on deck. They're just, oh my gosh. And then the skipper goes, hold on. The safety officer wants to talk to you. So Nora Conley, female safety officer, gets on the phone, and she goes, hey, Peep Show, we need a piss test. Whenever there's a Class A mishap, you have to take a piss test to make sure, there wasn't a problem. And so Peep Show goes, they want us to take a piss test. And I'm like, just tell them the truth, man. We already started drinking. I mean, he said, hey, sorry, but they had a keg here. We're at the hospitality tent. We both had a couple beers already. And then she asked the skipper, and then she goes, forget the piss test. You guys are fine. so they had to fly in a new canopy. They had to fix it all. We got, 5 days off at Air Force Base. And then we were able to fly it home. No harm, no foul. But that was a pretty interesting adventure. That's
a pretty crazy story. You're kind of like the air show crashers, right? like wedding crashers, sort of. Yeah, that's a lot of fun, man. So you're doing some fun stuff kind of on your own now. You were talking a little bit before the show about, some Forex and some GameStop stock, and just doing, totally diverting from flying. But tell us about what you're doing there. I mean, obviously GameStop and Reddit and all that stuff has made big news lately. So tell us about that a little bit. What are you up to?
Yes, with your background and helping people with loans and the markets and all that stuff. And that's definitely a new thing for me, but I have gone hog wild about it. And the thing I'm most bullish on is cryptocurrency. I believe in cryptocurrency 110%. I'm telling everybody about it, and most people just don't want to hear it. They're like, I don't believe it. I'm too late, because right now it's $50,000 for one Bitcoin. So who wants to get involved with that? It's like it's like a bubble that's gonna pop, and I don't want to be the bag holder. But I disagree, and the reason is, I don't want to take up all your time, but I'll try to get to it real fast. Right now, there's 28 million Bitcoin out there. There's only ever going to be 31 million. It's finite. Whereas the US dollar is a fiat currency, and they just print more and more. Just in the last year and a half, we're in our third stimulus package. One was 0.8 trillion. One was 0.8 trillion. Now this next one's 1.9 trillion. They're just making up fake money. So yeah, the stock market prices are going up, but what can you buy with those dollars? Houses have gone up too. You know that in your business and loans. That the reason that I think the houses are going up is because the dollars we buy them with are less, useful. So that's the big thing about Bitcoin. And also this, small amount makes them very inelastic. So when people buy more, it just keeps pushing it up. Right now, 4 major companies have started using their cash reserves. Instead of holding it in dollars, they're holding it in Bitcoin. And it's really paid off for all of them. That Bitcoin, has doubled in the time that they bought their reserves. I actually believe that Bitcoin is going to be worth $1 million each. I really do. Wow. The other thing, we look at it from the point of view of Americans, where we're like, oh, it's a little side thing, a little investment, a little hedge. But I'll tell you, the whole rest of the world, these people actually really need it. They're stuck in third world nations where, I talked about the fiat US dollar. Think if your money was tied up in some bad country's dollar. Of course, when we think about bad, we're talking about corrupt, but also stupid. You don't have to be corrupt, you just have to be stupid. But all those countries, what would you rather have? The Indian form of money, the Venezuelan form of money, or Bitcoin, which is spread all over the world, decentralized? I would way rather have Bitcoin. I'd way rather have Bitcoin than US dollars. So that's why I'm so bullish about it. And the other thing is that there's now these apps that you can stake and earn. So you buy your Bitcoin and then you loan it back to them and get a 6.5% interest. It's like a bank loan, but way better than a bank. So I have my Bitcoin, and it's going up and down, but I think mostly up. But meanwhile, I have it earning 6.5% on top of that. So then after that term is up, I can do that again for 6.5 more. Or if I feel like selling it now, I can sell it now. But I'm going to hold it because, like I said, it's 50,000 of Bitcoin now, and it's going to be 100,000. Or I mean, $1 million. I think $1 million. No kidding. I think it'll be 100,000 before the end of this calendar year. I really do. Wow. And the last thing about it, I've done a great job of saying it all real fast, is people think they've missed the boat because it's already 50,000. But there's less than 1% of the world who's actually bought in. 99% of the world doesn't own Bitcoin. They're the people who I tell about it, and they're like, oh no, I missed the boat. I don't want to do it. I don't trust it. And that's fine. But I try to tell them. I try to tell my parents. They won't have it. They're not, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink. Right. But I hope that some of your listeners this could be the best thing they ever did. Listen to a former naval aviator turned actor who bought some Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, I think there's some opportunity there for sure, and especially what you're doing to leverage it and lend it back out. Um,
And I just found out about that like a week ago. That's a game changer. It's incredible.
yeah, that's super super cool. Well, I'm Doug. I gotta ask a super selfish question. How do I get a ride in a fighter plane?
Okay. I got the answer. So you personally are sitting pretty because you have a podcast. The journalists have the easiest way to get a hop. When I was the wing safety officer in Meridian, Mississippi, I was the coordinator for the guest flights, and what they had to do is they had to do a request that goes through the public affairs officer to the chief. It's called CHINFO, Chief of Naval Information. They approve it, and then it comes back to the command they designate. Obviously, when I was in Meridian, Mississippi, we had a journalist from Mississippi who wanted to get a hop. She did the paperwork. Then it came through to me to coordinate it. I work out her training. She has to get ejection seat training. We don't want her accidentally ejecting out of the plane. That, as I told you, it's not good for your back, and it's very expensive, to lose a canopy.
Right.
But yeah, and then we put her in the back seat with a great pilot who if it's me, I always flew very smooth, and I never had anyone throw up. When I got my guest hop before I joined the Navy, the pilot I got took pride in making people throw up. That's a dick move. But yeah, he got me really sick. I was a high school kid. And also the way I got it back then was my mom met an admiral at the Portland Rose Festival. That's a really big deal. And she said, my son, wants to be a naval aviator. He goes, well, let's get him a hop. Let's make sure he, that's something he wants to do. And even though I was deathly sick afterwards, air sick, I still was like, that was amazing. But I think you're in the right thing, Armed and Ready podcast. You got your great production staff, so Dylan's there and Paco's there. You guys all head on out and you get to get that hop, rig up your cameras, your face will be, pulling back and all that. The other thing people really like to do, and it's even easier, is to go out on a cod, and you can get a carrier arrested landing and a catapult shot in the mail plane, the cod. They do that all the time. The aircrafts off the West Coast, you could easily line that up through the public affairs officer at Navy North Island. I think if you want, I can hook you up with the point of contact for that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely want you to hook me up with that. That's a dream of mine. So let's make it happen. That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, Doug, thanks so much, man. I love hearing your stories. I could sit here and talk all afternoon about this stuff. I hope that our audience could also, but I really appreciate it, man. I love hearing the aviation stories and all the fun stuff that you're up to, and just love having you on the show, man. So thank you so much for coming out.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, Doug. Take care, man. See you later. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode. If you have any questions about the guests on the show, please reach out to me at valoanguy.us.